There's a talk I heard from Ajahn Tissaro a while back, where he mentioned a teaching from Ajahn Chah when Ajahn Tissaro was a relatively junior monk. Ajahn Chah said, "If you're still following your likes and dislikes, you haven't even begun to practice." And Ajahn Tissaro said he got chills. That could be a frightening teaching. I can see why he might get chills, because you think, well, the things I like are so great. The things I dislike are so bad. Why shouldn't I follow them? The default is to follow our likes and dislikes. But you may have heard the expression that practicing Dhamma is going against the stream. Monastery is a good place to get that experience of going against the stream, because there's a schedule, there's a korwat, a monastery standard of etiquette, there's precepts, and just the general environment is different from maybe how we live our daily life in the world, or your daily life. This is my life. But if you're living the lay life and you come to the monastery, of course, we all experience it, even the monastic community, when we come to train. It can be a rocky transition, because there's a lot of likes that you cannot follow and a lot of dislikes you cannot avoid. So just being in the monastery forces us to go against the stream. And it can be quite difficult for people in the beginning, because we're so used to following our likes and dislikes. And it's hard to see the suffering these things create when we just follow them and we believe them. It becomes very apparent when you go against them. And the monastery helps us with this, helps us see these. Of course, the purpose is not to just go against your likes and dislikes. The purpose is to help us see how we suffer because of these things. And one tool that can be helpful is anicca, contemplation of anicca. I find it to be a very helpful tool for cutting away the misery that comes from getting bound up in these likes and dislikes. And of course, the idea of anicca is very obvious. Oh, everything changes. Yeah, I got it. But just the idea of anicca isn't going to liberate us. You can say everything is impermanent and anybody's going to get that. But it doesn't liberate their mind. It doesn't make them peaceful. And often it's hard to just conjure up that idea when our mind is unbalanced with craving and hatred. But the tool of anicca can really be applied through direct observation. I find that to be the more powerful tool, instead of just thinking about it. I mean, you can imagine if you're angry and somebody comes up and says, "It's all impermanent," and you just want to strangle them. It doesn't neutralize that fury. But if we can direct our mind towards the experience of impermanence that is happening in that moment, it can be a powerful tool to cut at that mind state that is causing the suffering. So say it is anger has arisen. And if we can direct the mind inward, say towards the feeling of anger, and investigate what's going on in our body, you observe the heart pumping, boom, 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 boom. Although if you're angry, it's probably more like boom, 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 arising and ceasing, arising and ceasing, arising and ceasing, arising and ceasing. You can feel it directly. You can observe impermanence directly within your body, in your heart, your literal heart. You can move your attention to your face and maybe feel the tension in your eyes or in your shoulders, and you can relax it, and you can see the impermanence of that tension. You can observe the feeling of your breath moving in and out, which is probably moving a little quicker when you're angry. And I found that moving the mind towards that investigation of impermanence, directly observing it, not just thinking, yeah, it's impermanent, this guy's going to be gone soon, or this situation is going to be over soon. You don't intellectualize impermanence. You investigate it directly as you're experiencing it in this moment. When you turn the mind towards impermanence as you're experiencing it in the moment, it can actually give rise to quite a bit of interest. And you'll find, once you start to investigate it, oh, look at this. This is changing. These feelings in my body are changing. My respiration is moving in and out. There's this constant fluctuation of sense input, then that interest in examining impermanence can allow the mind to settle, and it stops focusing on the object that's making it angry. I find this to be a very helpful tool. So when our mind gets bound up in our dislikes and believing the story about the thing that we don't like, or bound up in pursuing the things that we desire, anger is a very coarse experience, so it's easy to examine those things. But even desire, you can find the feeling of desire in the body and investigate that and observe the impermanent nature of it and what you're experiencing in that moment. And it can help to settle the mind. So I suppose just maybe a little encouragement for examining impermanence directly as we experience it in the moment during the day today, and see if we can not follow our likes and dislikes. Leave that for reflection.